For the world you love, your will be done. Let your will be done in me. For you and you alone. Awake my soul, awake my soul and sing.
Good evening. The topic in our Connect groups this evening for discussion is going to be the idea of conscientiousness. A really fancy word, but I think also a very important concept in talking about our relationship with each other. The root of conscientiousness is conscience. Now, what's our conscience? Our conscience is that placed within us, I believe, by God to give us this inner sense of right and wrong. It's what motivates us to do what's right because it makes us feel guilty if we do what's wrong. It's kind of a self-answerability kind of thing. Now, when you take the idea of conscience and then call it conscientiousness, in essence what you're saying is here's somebody who's doing something and they want to do it well. They want to do it right. They're going to put their all into it. They're going to attend to detail as they handle whatever this task might be because they're conscientious. In other words, they don't want their conscience bothering them that they didn't do the job as well as they possibly could. Now, the importance of conscientiousness shows itself in all different aspects and areas of our lives. For instance, if I go down here to Danny's to have a brake job done, I want the fellow who does the brake job to be conscientious about it, don't you? I want him to put in the right size of pads. I want him to turn the rotors. I want him to make sure that everything is tightened up like it needs to be tightened up because those brakes are really important. And so I want him to be conscientious in getting that job done. When you talk about relationships, conscientiousness becomes, I think, very, very important. Particularly, for instance, if you have babysitter for your children, you want somebody to come in and watch your children who's conscientious about their welfare. You don't want somebody to come in and plop down in front of the television with a bag of popcorn and just let the kids run all over the house with nobody watching out and overseeing what they're doing. That's not very conscientious, is it? We look for someone who's really going to pay attention to our children when we look for a babysitter. That's important. Now, this idea, this concept, I think also very much holds true when we talk about our relationship in the church. For instance, I believe that we have a very conscientious set of elders. A group of 6 men who really do care about your welfare and my welfare spiritually, who really do care about how this church is doing in all multiple facets of its works. And they conscientiously try to shepherd this flock and to oversee this work. And that's a very good thing. When we talk about conscientiousness as individuals, this is where I think we really get into the importance of our being conscientious in our relationships with each other. And see if this kind of thing hadn't happened to you, because I think it goes on all the time. You think of somebody and you haven't seen them at services in 2 or 3 weeks, and you say something to somebody else, have you noticed so-and-so here? And they say, well, no, I don't think I have. Well, if we're conscientious about our relationship with each other and our responsibility to each other, then shouldn't I pick up the phone and call? Or drop by and see what's going on with them if there's a problem, an issue of some kind? I believe if I am truly conscientious about my relationship with my brothers and sisters in Christ, that's exactly what I'm going to do. How are we going to be able to, as Paul urges in Galatians 6, bear one another's burdens? How are we going to confess to one another and hold each other accountable if, as James talks about in James chapter 5, if we're really not conscientious about our relationships with each other, paying attention to that's really, really important. And so as we talk about being conscientious when it comes to our relationship with each other, I do believe that we need to pay attention to the little details. We do need to be concerned about what's going on in other people's lives and find out if there's some way that we can aid them, help them, encourage them, bless them in some way. That will strengthen our relationship with each other. That will bless this church. I believe that will honor God. And so as you talk about the idea this evening of being conscientious and its importance, let's really brainstorm ways in which we can help each other to be more attentive to detail in our relationship with each other. God bless. Thank you.